aka Bullets, YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
Ryan Newcar will start at pole position for the 13th race of 2007, where Ryan Thunderbolt Jr. would be out on lap 55 because of an engine failure. Lightning McQueen would lead the most laps, leading for 53 of them, and aside from Ryan Thunderbolt Jr., every single car finished on the lead lap. The car that would end up finishing first is Jeff Corvette, winning the 13th race of 2007, getting his first win of the season. Cal Weathers would finish second, Lightning McQueen third, Ryan Newcar fourth, and Martin Carx Jr. rounding out the top five. Ernie Gearson, for the very first time in his career, will get a pole at Calladega, meaning he'll start at pole position for the 14th race of 2007, and Paul Race Draft would accidentally start a crash that wrecks way too many cars and himself on lap 288. Someone that was not involved in the crash is Jeff Corvette, and he led 71 laps, the most out of any car in the race. And he would go on to win the 14th race of 2007, also winning on Dale Earnhardt's birthday. He would have turned 56 if he'd lived. Lightning McQueen would finish second in this race. Kurt Busch would finish third, Cal Weathers fourth, and Todd Marcus would finish fifth, rounding out the top five. Kevin Shiftwright would start at pole position for the 15th race of 2007, where Juan Pablo Montoya would accidentally wreck Matt Karseth and himself on lap 78, but luckily it would be the only caution of the day. Carl Edwards would go on to lead the most laps, leading for 63 of them, and Murray Clutchburn would only lose the race by 7 feet to Carl Edwards, who would go on to win the 15th race of 2007, with Murray Clutchburn obviously coming second. Who came third? Martin Carx Jr. Bobby Swift would come fourth, and Tony Gaswood would round out the top five. Casey Gears will start at pole position for the 16th race of 2007, where JJ Traley would accidentally wreck a bunch of cars and himself on lap 132. Elliot Drafter would be out on lap 260 because of an engine failure. Tony Gaswood would end up leading the most laps, leading for 108 of them. But Lightning McQueen would be too good, and he'd go on to win the 16th race of 2007, making sure that Tony Gaswood would finish second. Cal Weathers would finish third, Matt Karseth fourth, and Bobby Swift rounding out the top five. Mike Yankee Jr. would start at pole position for the 17th race of 2007, where Ryan Newcar would go airborne on lap 86 because of Nick Charger Way! Nick Charger would also get flipped on lap 157 because of Eugene Komareski. Why? Dale Earnhardt Jr. would be the car that would go on to lead the most laps, leading for 92 of them. But Carl Edwards would once again win, winning the 17th race of 2007, where Jeff Corvette would finish second. Who comes third? Kevin Shiftwright does. Sage Vanderspin would finish fourth, and Lightning McQueen would round out the top five. Jeff Corvette would start at pole position for the 18th race of 2007, where he has a new look just for the race, and he will be sponsored by Pepsi. Chuck Hicks is back! Oh no! And then he does his usual thing, wrecking cars! Right! And Todd Marcus would get flipped on lap 105 because of Mean Green Car Hicks, who's actually out on lap 293 because of Paunchy Wipeout. Hooray! But oh no! He stalls on the track, which makes Tony Gasworth bump into him, and now he's out! Cal Weathers would end up leading the most laps, leading for exactly 100 laps. Kyle Busch would only lose by 3 feet to Jamie McCarry, who will get his very first Piston Cup victory with the 18th race of 2007. But this race would have a photo finish, as shown right here. Now who came third? Kurt Busch came third. Fourth place would go to Bobby Swift, and fifth place to Mike Yankee Jr. Reed Soren car would start at pole position for the 19th race of 2007, where Mean Green Car Hicks would of course wreck too many cars! Right! Crusty Rotor would lead for 10 laps in a row with only 3 tires. The car that would lead the most laps total is Tony Gasprin, leading for 74 of them. Kevin Karvik would take the lead with 20 to go and lose the lead with 10 to go. This is important because the car that took it from him is Tony Gasprin, who would go on to win the 19th race of 2007. Juan Pablo Montoya would come second. Jeff Gorvette would finish third, Lightning McQueen fourth, and Kyle Busch-Tire once again finishing fifth. Cal Weathers would start at pole position for the 20th race of 2007, where Chuck Hicks would DNQ! Hooray! And many Piston Cup fans share my opinion. David Rudicard would be out on lap 1 because of an engine failure. Crusty Rotor would also be out because of an engine failure on lap 12. This matters because of what he said afterwards, saying that cars should not need to go to the garage following an engine failure. And Kurt Busch-Tire comes back with, "Kurt Busch-Tire, don't say those words!" About leaving the race, Chuck Armstrong did exactly that when he got tired, and he was replaced by Doug Throttleman, who came onto the track on lap 247. Cal Weathers would lead for the most laps, leading for 32 of them, showing that this race was very competitive. Sage Vanderspin would only lead for 1. Why does this matter? Because he goes on to win the 20th race of 2007, putting Lightning McQueen in second place. Brickyard would finish third, Jeff Gorvette fourth, and Darren Ledfoot would round out the top 5. Jeff Gorvette would start first once again, but this time it's for the 21st race of 2007, where Mean Green Car Tickets would be out on lap 5 because of Manny Flywheel. Hooray! Despite the early elimination of the Mean Green Car, only 35 cars finished the race, and Jeff Gorvette would lead the most laps, leading for 132 of them. Denny Carlin would surprisingly win the 21st race of 2007, with Jeff Gorvette surprisingly coming second. Tony Gasprin would finish third, Cal Weathers fourth, and Kevin Shiftright rounding out the top 5. Michael Kartrip would somehow start at pole position for the 22nd race of 2007, where Mean Green Car Tickets wrecks over 20 cars! Why do you wreck so many cars, Mean Green Car? And he gets a suspension. This one for 10 races, and Jeff Gorvette would still get flipped on lap 180 because of chickens! Why? And also, didn't you just get a suspension? But Jeff Gorvette would somehow not be out? How? And he goes to pit road, where now he's 3 laps down because he had to get his repairs. But he would somehow still get back on the lead lap on lap 464. Denny Carlin would go on to lead the most laps, leading for only 60 laps, and despite being 3 laps down earlier, Jeff Gorvette would go on to win the 22nd race of 2007, sweeping both Calladega races. This means that Lightning McQueen would finish second, Bobby Swift third, Denny Carlin fourth, and Ryan Newcar rounding out the top 5. Lightning McQueen would start at pole position for the 23rd race of 2007, where Matthew Philip Wheel would wreck himself out. Why did you do that? It does not make sense. Something that makes more sense is Jeff Burnton jumping over 7 cars across the race. And Kurt Busch-Tire says, "Don't say that word, Kurt Busch-Tire!" when Jeff Burnton jumps over him. Casey Corner would lead for the most laps, leading for 327 of them. But out of nowhere, Brickyard would go on to win the 23rd race of 2007, getting his very first career victory, finishing 2 seconds ahead of Cal Weathers in second. Casey Corner would finish third. Jeff Burnton, probably after jumping over a bunch of cars, would finish fourth. And the other Jeff Gorvette, would finish 5th. Something normal occurs at the start of the 24th race. Ryan Newcar, the Rocket, will start at pole position. Who guessed? Something more unexpected is Eugene Komareski being third as of the first lap, where he wrecks Ryan Newcar, who's out on the very first lap. Why? Carl Edwards would be bumped into the wall on lap 71. Who did it? Tony Gasprin did it! Why? And then whilst on track, Casey Gears would dance on lap 103. How? Lightning McQueen would go on to lead the most laps, leading for 181 of them. Mike Yankee Jr. would be in the lead as of the white flag, but Brickyard, once again out of nowhere, would go on to win the 24th race of 2007, getting back-to-back wins. Matt Karseth would finish second this race, Kevin Shiftway would finish third, Bobby Swift fourth, and Lightning McQueen rounding out the top five, despite the fact Mike Yankee Jr. was in the lead when the final lap begun. He would go on to finish 10th. How did you lose so many positions so quickly? Now let's go see the top 20 in points as of the 24th race of 2007, where Mike Yankee Jr. still is. But now, Jeff Corvette has the points lead, 5 points ahead of Lightning McQueen. Somehow, Brickyard is third in points. Cal Weathers got over his bad form because he made it all the way back up to 9th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. better do well next race, or he's going to lose his spot in the top 20. Probably the Casey Corner Ryan Newcar.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribed, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
The 2007 Piston Cup Races 25 to probably 35 will be coming out very soon.